Average Best Cornhole back here, and today we got some ACO bags from True Cornhole. We have the Velocity and the Aftershock. And the Velocity, we're not real sure how this bag's legal. We're going to get into that a little more, but it's one of the thinnest, floppiest bags we've seen yet.
By far. If you like that type of bag, you should definitely take a look at these Velocities. We'll jump right into the speeds in these Aftershocks. True Cornhole says they're 5 to 6 on the slow side, but only an 8 on the fast side. And that 5 to 6, that's a pretty good range. I mean, brand new, they definitely play about a 6, and then they slow down. Now, this natural color, though, to us, from our experience, it does play a little bit slower. So that would be more in the 5 range, I think. In the 8 fast speed, that's kind of cool because, you know, if you think about it, like a lot of the time you flip a bag over and you're not supposed to throw it harder. Yeah. But you do, and then you go sliding off the back. Well, this 8 might help with that. Or also, you know, you come to your 4th bag and you're like, oh, I'm going to flip it over, put it on the fast side to make sure it goes in. Well, with the 8, you don't have to worry about it flying off the back. You know, you do have a better chance of it going in.
And getting into the speeds of the Velocity here, we got a 9 on the fast side and rated from True Cornhole a 6.5 to a 7 on the slow side. Not sure if we completely agree with that, but it's definitely in the 6 range at some point.
Yeah, 6 and a half. I think that's what I would probably go with.
Yeah, for sure. All right, materials on these. Starting with the Aftershock, we have the tried and true R material here, and we got this in the natural or the raw color, and out of the selection that they had. And this also offers a pretty unique fast side. We mentioned before, it's an 8 speed, and it's not a fast side we see a whole lot.
Yeah, and the Velocities, I mean, they got that Charmin hybrid slow side, which is starting to gain some popularity. It's a little bit faster than other hybrids. The fast side, it's pretty unique. We haven't seen it before. Yeah. It does have a shiny feel to that, if it makes sense. It is a little different holding in your hand. It's something you got to get used to.
It feels like plastic to me.
Yeah, is that shiny or something? Yeah, it's odd. It's unique. And then they both series do have their patent pending Drip Tech liner, which is just a liner on the slow sides. All it does really is it makes the slow side feel a little bit thicker, you know, because you got that liner there. We didn't notice much of a difference with the Aftershock, but we'll get into it with these Velocities. They were super drippy for, you know, their fill and what's in them, and I think that maybe that Drip Tech liner helped that drippiness. Yeah. So moving on the template, the Aftershock, I would consider this kind of like a medium to medium large template. Right in the sweet spot, though, of fullness and floppiness, too. It's really not bad. It's not overly floppy, that's for sure, and it's definitely not overly full.
All right, the template on the Velocities here is also a medium large, but they're very thin. And the weight, however, is right on the nominal specs for that, so we're a little confused with this bag because it came in quite unique. We're going to get a little help from Ultra here with their bag checker. And I don't know how well you guys are going to see this on camera, but I got a picture of it. But this is well below the specification that we get off of this gauge here. I would say upwards of almost a thin 1/4 inch, really. It's quite a bit. We noticed it as soon as we got these bags because they came broken in like this, and they were just extremely floppy and thin.
Yeah, and I actually researched ACO specs, you know, bag specs, and they're pretty comparable to ACL. So I really think that is under.
The fill flop on the Velocities, as we said, extremely floppy bag, one of the floppiest we've seen. It has a mixed fill in it of mostly flat, right? There's supposed to be some rounds in there that we heard, but we don't really feel them at all.
Yeah, we did not. I mean, it's like really heavy, tiny discs because the bag is full of these things, but it is just super floppy. Yeah. And like he said, I mean, it weighs correct, but for some reason, it's just so thin. And then the Aftershock, it does have a true mixed fill. We verified that. You could fill some large beads. It's not as floppy as I was saying. And it is an active bag, so whatever that fill is, I mean, I really like that fill because it did make the bag very active.
Bagmanship on these, overall the quality seems great. We've had really no issues and stuff. We're going to reach out to True Cornhole a little bit later and see if this is a one-off, if, you know, maybe there was something wrong with the bag I got, or if that's just, in fact, the template and, you know, the size of these bags. Again, we're just a little confused with how floppy they came and how, you know, below spec they are on the height.
On to the forgiveness and these Velocities. I think forgiveness is like an understatement, right? This is one of the most forgiving bags I played, and I know that was probably why they made that bag like that. And with it being super floppy and those, tiny little discs, that thing just lands flat, and slides straight up.
Yeah, and the aftershocks, the forgiveness on those, with the mixed fill and everything, it's a pretty active bag. So you're going to get quite a bit of kicks that you may not want and things like that. So it's probably not the most forgiving bag out there, right?
Right, but if you don't have a flat bag, I mean, I think you can play it. It's going to be a kick that's going to keep on coming back. So you'll be able to recognize that and play that kick.
I would agree with that. I get into the whole bodiness, and I'm going to start again with the aftershocks here, and not what this bag is going to be known for. I plugged a lot of holes. There was a lot of hangers that I thought were going to drop that just didn't drop. And I think part of that is the raw material of that R carpet. Again, we always see that to be a little bit slower, so you just don't seem to get that slip in that you normally would with a super friendly bag.
It did seem to hang up a little bit more than normal, but then the velocities, I mean, those things just dripped in. If you got it near the hole, it just felt like it fell. And that's what I was saying with that Drip Tech liner. With those discs, those things usually collect and stack and don't move. But for some reason, that Drip Tech liner in that bag was helping it, because they would just keep on moving and fall. And that thing, the best thing about this bag was you could fit that thing in the tightest and smallest spaces that you would have. If you wanted to go in between two bags that had a little crack, it would do that. If you got it near the hole and there was just a little small, opening there, it would fall right in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best thing that I experienced with the bag is you can fit it in everywhere, and it's quite unique, and that just goes to how thin and floppy it is, right? But that also kind of goes into what we're going to talk about next is the collectability on these bags, and I think what helps this thing be small and skinny and sneak in those tight spots kind of hurts it when you're trying to collect, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a bag that I would try to collect with. The good thing is it's fast, so normally you're not going to have a bag sitting out front, but yeah, it would just bunch up and move. And especially, I mean, it does have really rounded corners on it, which is kind of unique for a bag. So that actually hurts the collectability too, because it really doesn't have a corner to grab your collect. But where that's good is as you're trying to get around someone's blocker, that thing's going to bunch up with that round corner. I mean, that's what it's a get-around bag, essentially. Just get around everything, fit in those tight areas, and try to fall right in the hole. But the Aftershock, though, then we did have good experience with that collecting. You had to throw it a little bit harder. I felt, push through your collect, and that's where I'm saying that's the good thing about that 8 fast side on this, is that a lot of times subconsciously you flip it over to do a collect, you're going to immediately throw it too hard, and with a 9, 9.5 or whatever, it's just going to go flying off. Capable shots, and like we've been saying, the Aftershock, I mean, that's an active bag, right? So it's probably possible to do all the shots with it. We are cutting them very well. I know people can roll that bag, but yeah, it's definitely going to be more of the dirty style game bag out of these two.
That was my experience with it. I enjoyed putting up a blocker and then flipping over to that slower fast side and trying to push through, and that was working great. So that's definitely what I'm looking at. Is that bag's most capable things is block and replace. It's really good at that, but it cuts. It can do it all. The velocity, it's really going to be your hole runner. That's what it's best for. Fitting in them tight spots or just sliding in the hole on an open board. But with that said, there's some capabilities with that. I was able to get them to cut a little bit. I don't know if you can get a bag like that to roll just because of how thin and floppy it is. I just feel like it would just kind of collapse on the board instead of bite and roll over. Didn't really try too much with it, but I can't see you doing that. All right, how might these bags make you better? I'm really just going to talk about the velocity here. And I've always struggled with throwing a floppy bag. I like a bag with a fuller hand feel and things like that. Now this thing kind of changed things a little bit, and I feel like it made me better of playing with a floppier bag. This is so far on the extreme of floppiness that I threw it so much, I started getting a little comfortable throwing it, and then going back to another bag that I consider floppy that I struggled to throw before was perfectly easy. So I feel like this bag made me better at throwing floppy bags.
Right, and since it is so forgiving, it makes up for your learning curve of you trying to throw that too.
Yep, that's a great point.
So we'll touch on the company information real quick. And True Cornhole, like we said, they are an ACO stamped bag company. They do have a website, which is just truecornhole.com, and a Facebook page, which is just at True Cornhole. So if you need to find them, that'd be the 2 places.
All right, getting into the designs here, we just got kind of some of the basics, especially on the Aftershock. But if you check these guys' website out, they have a very large options of what kind of prints and designs you can get on these, which is super cool. So if you can't find something that you like, check them out. They have so many options, you'll probably find something.
Yeah, and it seemed like a lot of their designs were interchangeable with the bag series too. So if there is one design that you liked a lot, I mean, you can get multiple series with that design.
And also with the availability of these, as far as I've seen, they're pretty much readily available anytime you go on the website. I haven't seen them sold out or anything. They're available now, so go check them out. All right, cost on these is actually really good, and we're right around the $70 to $75 range on these. They do have some sales and stuff. But they didn't have a pre-sale price listed, so we're just going to go with 70, 75 seems to be the going rate for most of these bags, which is well under our $100 price.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ACO stamp, not an ACL stamp, so we can expect a little bit of lower pricing on the ACO bags, but overall $75 for bags like this is not bad at all.
Yeah, and I mean that ACO stamp, the ACL stamp, I mean that really doesn't bother a lot of us. Right, so we're just looking at the price, and there's discount codes available for them too, so it's going to bring that price down some even more. So overall on these bags, the Aftershock, there's nothing wrong with that bag. It's just that nothing stood out about it compared to other bags with that same slow side material on it. I did state that I like the 8 fast side. I really do like that. So I guess that would be the only thing that stood out. But there's probably other bags with 8 fast sides on it and slow sides like that. And then the velocities, I'm sure someone out there really loves those bags. I mean, I liked it. It was super neat how easy it was to fit in those tight locations. Yeah. But I'm curious to know if something happened with this set and that's why they're like that, or if the other ones are like that, because we honestly don't know.
Right. All right, last, why do we recommend these bags? The Aftershock is, experienced player bag. So if you're more experienced, I'm sure you can, bring out the capabilities of this bag and, do a lot of great things with it. We see the potential in the bag. The velocity, again, it's so unique and stuff like that. I think it's probably a pretty good bag for a beginner, especially if you're like me trying to get better at throwing floppy bags, but it's forgiveness, its ability to sneak in tight spots. And, those all have, a lot of value to an early player. And so I would recommend them to somebody like that.
Yeah, if you could figure out how to throw that thing, I mean, it's just going to boost your confidence to the ceiling.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just end this with everybody's average of something. If you're going to be average, may as well be average at cornhole.